All right, good morning all. Welcome to the Tourism Department meeting, March 21st. I need a motion to approve the minutes of February 25th Tourism Committee meeting. Mr. Stroud, Mr. Dickinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have no business under the action agenda. And I'm just going to turn it right over to Joanne and give us the presentation that we've been waiting for a while. Thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Good morning. The two items on your agenda today are relative to our upcoming summer campaign. And as per the terms of the contract, Peter and I have sat down with the representatives from Workshop. We've reviewed the previous year's results and looked ahead at plans for the 2022 summer campaign. Those of you who are on the committee before recall that they were here during the winter to present for the winter campaign. They'll do that now for the summer campaign. We do have a visual that we can share with you on screen, and we did make copies if anyone needs a paper copy. I think we distributed some, but there are a few extra of the paper copies. So there are representatives with us today from Workshop to present the media buy for the upcoming summer 2022 media campaign. So let's see, Allie, Carolyn, and Tim are with us today, and they'll come up to the podium.
We're gonna pull up.
Correct. Summer media buy.
Thank you.
All right, you're on.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Joanne, thank you for the introduction. My name is Carolyn Bordenaro. I'm the account executive with Workshop. I have with me Ellie Withy, our paid media manager, and Tim, the president of Workshop. We're going to be going through the summer 2022 media campaign and strategy with you all. To start off our agenda today, we're going to share with you the 2021 performance, just some highlights there. We will also go through the current campaign, which is the tail end of the winter 2021-2022 season. And then we will go into the summer 2022 themes to share with you, our tactics, and the budget plan. We will talk a little bit about Canadian marketing and our next steps as well. So to start off, we wanted to share with you some of the highlights from the 2021 performance. This is for the full year from January through December. We ran a television and connected TV for the full 3 seasons. Some highlights here. We had 8,847 traditional TV spots across 5 markets during all 3 seasons, and had over 7 million impressions from connected TV. For paid social, over 29 million impressions, 679,000 clicks, and a click-through rate of 2.29%, which is 154% above our benchmark goals.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If I might interrupt for just a quick question.
Sure.
When I see the 154% above benchmark, can you explain what the benchmark is?
Yes, so For paid social, there are industry standard benchmarks just in general, and then as well as for the travel and hospitality industry. That benchmark is 0.90%.
I'm just curious what markets are included in the benchmark,
It's all markets on Facebook.
all markets.
Yeah, all
Okay, it's not
within the
hard-
travel and tourism sector.
Would it be difficult for us to compare some of the markets that we feel we compete against?
We could do that. We just need insight to their information, which we don't necessarily always have.
So it's tough to get the background. What you're saying.
I'm curious, what are you thinking as the markets that you compete
Well,
against?
there's certain markets, there's the
like other
Finger Lakes,
counties?
there's, you know, maybe where you guys are up there in the Lake Placid area. There's Hershey, PA. I'm sure there's others that others can help me identify what those competing markets are. But it'd be great to see how we're doing with our buys versus what they're getting in their other regions also. And have a benchmark that way. To me, that would mean more to me than comparing against the whole hospitality industry.
So again, that these questions come up often, and I know we've kind of exchanged a little bit last time, right? It's hard to get that data, much as your data might not be shared, but like you say, Essex County, right? Essex County, that Roost, if I go into Roost and say, are you going to share your paid media performance and or your TV performance? That answer is typically no, right? Because they're competing against you. You're competing against them. So it is a little bit of an awkward spot to get that benchmark. So what we do revert to is the standards on a national level when we're buying in those markets. So again, that comparison is there against a national standard, right? In the hospitality as you drill down. So that is the benchmark that everyone knows and sees. So that's what we try to present against. I don't know how else, if I was to call into Hershey, Pennsylvania and ask for their data, I don't know how willing they would be. So it's hard for me to help you to define that. In fairness.
No, that's very fair. I'm just trying to see if we can get more pointed data.
Yeah,
But
if I have an opportunity, I'll ask. No, and I will, and I, in honesty, and I might just, hey, what are you benchmarking against? And would you be willing to share your benchmark? No promises, no, it is just a hard thing to get to.
is there a reason why we wouldn't want to share our benchmark?
Well, that would be up to you.
I'll take it offline. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
and so just to that comment, we can't share that.
I understand.
Right. Okay.
All right, so still talking through our 2021 performance here, the native advertising, over 7 million impressions, click-through rate of 0.27%. The pre-roll video had 800,000 impressions, over 600,000 completions, and a completion rate of 0.8%. The website retargeting received over 4 million impressions, 4,000 clicks, a click-through rate of 0.11%. And the video event retargeting received over 1 million impressions, almost 2 million there, 2,337 clicks, a click-through rate of 0.12%. And the Google ads had 3 million impressions, 269,000 clicks, and a click-through rate of 8.96%, which is 91% above the benchmark.
Okay. Yes, Dennis.
I hesitate to display my ignorance, but I've done it before. What is an impression in a click?
So with these tactics here, an impression would be the number of times an ad was shown. So if you see an ad, that's one impression. So that's the number of times it's been shown to an audience. And this is all digital for the most part. And then a click is the number of times that somebody physically clicked on the ad and then went to the website.
So you ran it 30 million times paid social, you ran 30 million times and you got 700,000 clicks.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
One more, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Do we have benchmarks for some of these other CTRs that aren't identified here?
Yes, so for pre-roll, we look at the completion rate there, and anything above 75%, since we're at 80%. And then for retargeting, that is a bit more brand awareness. So it's just trying to get impressions back out there.
So there's no benchmark for that retargeting?
It's right around 0.1, it's a range, 0.10 to 0.15, so we fall right in that range.
So what is retargeting?
So retargeting is re-exposing an audience to the same ad. So for example, if somebody clicked on a paid social ad and visited your website, we can then retarget them with another ad. So we're serving ads to previous website visitors. Another tactic we used that was new in summer 2021 was serving retargeting ads to users who had completed the pre-roll video. So an audience had already been fully exposed to a 15-30-second video, completed it, didn't skip it, and then reserving them retargeting ad later on.
Thank you.
Gina?
Do you have an average of your paid social with what the actual cost per click is?
I can get that number for you.
Okay, and the second question is with regard to the Google ads. So for instance, are you, because I know the ads come up even right now, we're at meetlakegeorge.com, which is basically an extension, and the Visit Lake George ad comes up. So you've got us in there and you're trying to buy us, but we're using all the same money. So I just wonder with the Google ads, are we buying those things that are already in market, or are we buying something when somebody Googles, you know, getaways in the Northeast versus what's already here?
Yes, so we have and we'll show it in our summer 22 plan. We have a variety of different strategies there. So yes, some of them are branded because we want to show up first when people are searching for our brand. But a lot of them are a lot more top funnel, where it's like searching places to hike in the Northeast or places to visit in the Northeast, that are a lot more what we call top funnel searches. They don't have necessarily a specific location or intent, but they're just trying to gather information. So we can try and use a combination of top, middle, and bottom funnel campaign strategies, as well as keywords that we're bidding on for that.
All right, go ahead. No other questions, I don't see.
We can move forward.
So here we are with our current winter campaign performance. This is January through March 17th. So we're almost all the way through the campaign here. So with paid social, we've served over 9.2 million impressions with 224,000 clicks and a click-through rate of 2.44%. That's 171% above the benchmark. Our top performing themes there were ice bars, ice castles, indoor activities, and events. For native advertising, we had over 2.5 million impressions with 13,000 clicks and a CTR of 0.51%, 70% above the benchmark. For retargeting, we had 1.6 million impressions, 3,900 clicks, click-through rate of 0.24%, 60% above our benchmark. Google Ads, 370,000 impressions, 79,000 clicks, and a click-through rate of 21.5%. For YouTube, we had a variety of different ads running as well this year. Those served, or during this past winter, those served over 30,000 impressions, 11,000 interactions, and an interaction rate of 37.366%. And the interactions there are a combination of views and engagements, and that's how we measure it on a standard through Google. Here's a snapshot of some of our top ads that we had running this winter. The top or the left two are native advertising ads. So those can appear dynamically through different search results on your phone or on your desktop. Generally, an example I like to use is if you're on a news website, they often pop up on the side or the bottom as something you might be interested or read more like this. And every once in a while you see one that says sponsored. That is what our native advertisements are. And then the two to the right are paid social ads. We have the ice bars and the ice castles that were our top two most successful ads by the number of clicks this year. So looking to summer 2022. Our areas of focus this year are going to be outdoor summer recreation. So things like hiking, camping, boating, things on the water such as beaches, rafting. We have biking, air adventures. Top attractions such as the dinner cruises, shopping and factory outlets, dining, museums and history, craft beverages, couples activities, free activities, as well as arts and theaters. For family activities, summer's our big family audience. So focusing on Great Escape, mini golf, drive-ins, arcades, ice cream, anything that is we consider a nice family activity. A lot of events happening this summer: fireworks, 4th of July, Americade, Food and Wine Festival, Summer Concert Series, Arts and Crafts Festival, Music Festival, and the Barbecue Festival. And then, of course, lodging and camping for the overnight stays when traveling to Warren County. So you've seen these as general trends in the travel industry, not just in Warren County, but as well in search trends in more local areas. So this is the reasoning behind these themes that we are focusing on. And of course, aligns with what Warren County has to offer.
So last year we had a lot of rain in July. Is there anything that you can be nimble on that says, you know, if automatically, if there's over a 70% chance of rain, if all of a sudden it's all about indoor activities, like rainy day activities, is there any nimble, you know, opportunity for that?
Absolutely. We can change things as needed. Absolutely. With a rainy summer, we saw that a lot, and we kind of change strategies with at any time, especially with traditional, it's a little bit hard, but with anything digital, we can turn things off, restart things, we can shift what we're focusing on. We are absolutely very flexible and can adjust to seasonal weather or whatever it is. We focused in on a lot of that this winter, depending on what we had for snow. That was we were in constant communication, what we were looking at there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if digitally, if there was like some trigger that, you know, if ever, the weather report is this. It's just come up. We see it at our what we're doing at the Village Information Center, and our information centers to be ready with that based on the weather report. So, and we did learn a lot this last summer and this week.
Yes.
So, okay, thanks.
Great. So we'll move into the tactics that we're going to be focusing on. So we're going to keep our traditional tactic of television in our primary markets, New York City, Albany, Syracuse, Utica. And then leading up to the 4th of July, we're going to focus in a little bit more on the further markets as well, but not include them later in the summer since they are more in advance planners, which would be Hartford, New Haven, and Boston. It's a very brand awareness tactic, and the lion's share of the budget is utilized during that pre-4th of July flight. Connected TV is our TV ads on any streaming device. So we've seen a big rise in streaming devices and platforms over the past several years, especially when COVID hit. We now have more users of connected TV than we do television, but a combination of both is our most successful strategy at the moment. So some of these platforms include Hulu, Disney+, Roku, Fubo, Sling, Pluto, Samsung, LG, and so many more. There's a lot of them out there now, but we're able to hit all of them. Pre-roll video is a video that plays directly before a featured video on mobile or desktop devices. An example of this is if you're looking at a YouTube ad, almost every single time there's some sort of video that plays first. So that is the pre-roll video. Paid social is sponsored advertising on social networks by targeting a very specific audience. we've been very successful with these and honing in on why we have those different themes and able to really fine tune who that audience is to make sure we're reaching the most interested audience for each theme that we're presenting. Move on to the next one. So then we have native advertising, as I just explained. A strong example that I always like to think of is the suggested for you or read more like this. It's a sponsored post that fits dynamically into the platform that it is served on. We perform best with these as a blog type landing page. So we've selected, as you'll see in a couple slides, several blogs to feature for this native advertising. The audience is usually a bit more involved in a reading mindset, and we're able to hit them with a little bit more information through the blog. Retargeting, so a form of targeted advertising that retargets users that have previously engaged with the brand. So for this upcoming summer campaign, we will target recent website visitors, so with users who have been to the website within the past 30 days, as well as users who have completed that pre-roll video. Lastly, we'll have Google Ads, or online advertising, where marketers bid to display video, shopping, and search/text ads through an audience and keywords. We will be doing search and text ads for this campaign, and we use this through a combination of top, middle, and bottom funnel campaigns, ad groups, and keywords. So now we have the media plan, and can we pull up the other digital version because it's very small on this slide. I won't make everyone squint. Did anyone bring binoculars?
And everyone should have their print version as well. And I did email it to the committee members that could not be here today. There was a second document in that email that I sent you that was a little bit larger.
Mr. Chairman, while we have a break, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Prior we talked about sharing information. This is on YouTube, so we've just shared all our information. Should we be taking some of this offline if it's proprietary information?
Good question.
I think it would be a good idea. I mean, not to hide, but I mean, this is what you're doing.
Excuse me, Chairman. I can't hear what's being said right now about the issue of proprietary information and who is just speaking. Is our county attorney there?
I am present.
So actually, that was a valid point. I did not realize it being shared on YouTube, but this is the detail and the data and these very specifics of your spend, of the county spend. And I from where I would be looking if I was spending my money, I would maybe not want that to be broadcast to other competitors for much the same reason that I mentioned. Other people don't want to send or share benchmarks. You'd be in effect, be sharing everything right here.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move it into executive session to speak about this proprietary information.
Just under contracts or?
Mr. Attorney, is that, we can do that?
That would be a valid motion for executive session.
All right. Do you want to do it right now, or do you want to wait till the end of the meeting, or whatever you?
Oh, no, right now, because
Okay.
we're going into sensitive information.
I have a second. Dennis, are you second it?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're in executive session, so everybody else has to please leave for a little while. All right, we're back in regular session. Joanne, you want to make that motion?
I would like to thank the team from Workshop for coming to present today as part of their contract with the Tourism Department. They will present the media buy to the committee, and I will just ask the committee for consensus for them to move ahead. We don't need anything more than that, just the fact that they were able to present, there was some question and answer, and we're ready to move ahead with that spend for the summer months.
All right, somebody want to move that? Mr. Leggett? Can you second it?
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes.
briefly, there's one other page here about next steps. Are we going to go through this?
Yeah.
Prior to or after? I don't think it really matters, but I'm just hoping to go through this.
Quick last page.
Yep.
Would you like us to go through?
Yeah, why don't we just go?
We want to go with the motion first, or you want to go with that one?
Let's just go through this first, the last page.
All right.
Never mind.
We'll hold on that motion. We missed the last step.
Yep. Okay, so just reviewing our next steps, to kind of recap what we've done so far. We've done a seasonal kickoff meeting, which we do prior to each season, with Joanne and Peter, determine the audiences, messaging, goals, budgets. Overall, we have built the media plan, which we shared with you today, and share that with the tourism committee. We have determined the assets for each of the campaigns and the due dates, all of which have already been received. We create the ad mock-ups and deliver those for feedback and approval. We work with the TV stations to negotiate rates and spots with the TV vendors, sending traffic to the TV vendors as well. Part 6 here is setting up the campaign for the digital tactics, which involves doing the tracking code creation, uploading all the ads, tracking the platforms, campaign setup with budgets, target demographics, and geographics, and the internal campaign setup, review, and approval. Our 7th step is to launch the campaign, and then we do a daily and weekly campaign monitoring and make optimizations as needed. At the end of the campaign, we do an in-depth campaign report and deliver that, and meet with Joanne and Peter to discuss the report and review all of the performance.
Since this campaign is a little bit longer, we will pull a report just immediately following that pre-4th of July flight, so we have an update on where things stand.
Mr. Weil, any questions on that?
I have 2, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Maybe 3. I'm a little confused about the roles and responsibilities of Ad Workshop versus our tourism organization. Who does what? Because I think the last time we had a discussion, I heard that we basically do all the creative build, or the majority of the creative build, but there's a section here that says that they do sounds like they're doing some creative building. So could you just help me understand that creative aspect of it, and then the general overview of what Ad Workshop does versus what we as our Warren County Tourism Department does to direct all this stuff to happen?
Sure. The asset creation here is mostly for the native ads. So we provide them images, and they'll feed those into, it's almost like a template that fits the page layout. So if you're on like Yahoo News, that feed that you scroll through will look much different than if you're on PostStar. And how the native will work is that image will propagate, and then the title where, so that's how that gets built. Creation from my perspective is I build the in conjunction with our TV production company, I build the spot out with them, all the creative stuff that goes into that. Banner ads, I'll build those banner ads. The website that the guest is coming back. I build all of that. And mostly this is just placement. Any expertise outside of creative, that's my forte is the art, and these guys are the purchasing power and where our dollars are best spent and how to deliver them. So trafficking TV spots, it has to go from, our TV production company. That file has to get delivered to X, Y, and Z station, and that's where they put the link in there.
So is it fair to say that we do the majority of the creation, the creative aspect, but the actual where it's placed and when it's placed is done by Ad Workshop with the overview from the tourism department?
That is accurate.
Okay. Secondly, number 8, there's daily and weekly campaign monitoring. Does the tourism department get involved in that? And how quickly are we able to pivot if there's opportunities for us to move?
Yeah, certainly we are involved in that. They'll notify us that they see a trend developing, a la maybe golf is picking up, and it's kind of just asset management. So rob Peter to pay Paul. We have to find that money from somewhere to double down on the things that are working really well. So one of the things that we've found is we have really good campaigns going on, and so it is difficult to pull money out of stuff that's running well, but that's the decision we have to make, is say, this one is performing better, and let's double down on that.
Thanks.
And often there's A and B testing with some of the ads. So, we'll get a monetization of that, and A is performing better than B, and it's just a usual marketing tactic, but
Thanks. I'm
make that
happy with that.
determination.
There's a couple members from our business community that are here, and Joanne, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before. In my mind, there's different organizations within Warren County promoting our tourism. And in my perspective, it would be ideal if the business community can leverage what we're doing, and we can leverage what the business community is doing, so we don't both go to New York City on the same day and the same evening and have visit Lake George or Lake George is Great or whatever we do for Warren County happening at the same time. So is there any kind of coordination between us and the business community in terms of when and where we're advertising? So again, so we can leverage that to the greatest return for our region as a whole.
If I could, yeah, there is a bit of that. In general terms, we released the marketing plan, which kind of outlines month by month, like what we'll be featuring, and then what's our secondary plan. So again, go back to March, Maple Days is the big feature. So if it makes sense for someone to tap into that, they certainly can. And then as far as, geez, I lost my train of thought here. But yeah, we have the outline there. And,
Yeah, no, the marketing plan, I think, laid it out, and it's not as detailed as this, but shares with anyone who wants to read it what our outlook is for the upcoming year.
And I know that there was great cooperation when COVID hit and how well we worked together to make that happen. And I'm just trying to make sure that we keep that moving forward, because I just think it makes sense. The last thing I have is, what metrics do we use to measure whether Ad Workshop is the right business for us to be partnering with? And I know this isn't a easy question to answer, but I think from our due diligence standpoint, how do we know whether we're with the right organization or not? And do we need to look outside to get another view of what we're doing to make sure that we're efficient and effective?
Yeah, I feel like that kind of is self-evident in the bidding process. We selected them based on their bid proposal, and then we renew it based on their performance. At any point in time, if it's the decision of the board to go a different direction, we'll entertain that idea. I think that when we reviewed the applications that came in, there's commission percentages that ranged wildly.
Mm-hmm.
There were certainly 2 very competitive bids that came in, and we evaluated both of them. I think at the time we brought both of them to the board and kind of let the board weigh in on where to go. And ultimately, our recommendation was provided and accepted. But certainly then that happens, it has to happen at least every 4 years, because I think it's a 1-year contract with 3 renewals. So at a minimum, that happens every 4th year. And anytime you'd like to do that before, we certainly can. I think the process which should start, if you're interested in that, really early in the season, in order to make sure we have time to get the bids out, evaluate them, and get someone in here to work it. I will say, though, that for the record, since my tenure has been here, I've been working with 2 companies for media purchasing, and of the 2, these guys are by far the better company.
I don't know how to evaluate that other than to trust you with your response. But thank you. I just had to get that off my chest, because if it's up to this board to make a decision about whether we're investing in the right area, I don't know about the rest of this committee, but this stuff is all smoke and mirrors to me sometimes. So it's hard for me to move forward, but I'll stop.
Mr. Stroud.
Got the point.
The big picture is we've been doing fantastic. I mean, the Lake George region, the sales tax, the OC tax, the traffic, any meter that you want to use to measure the success of what we're doing, it's showing blue ribbon. What we're doing is working. So I look at it from, the aerial view. If we're doing this and this and this and this, and it's working, and we're doing better than ever, then we must be doing something right.
That's usually my speech. I go by the op tax and sales tax and the traffic. It's hard to measure every little bit of it. Plus every business has their own advertising budget. Every business. So if we're advertising in New York to come up here and go mountain biking, I imagine a lot of the hotelers and business people are doing the same thing on there. So there are going to be same, because we advertise in New York about mountain bike, doesn't mean all the other people are going to stay away from it and hope our advertising works. So there is a lot of overlap, and you see it a lot. But that's individual businesses do, and the chamber does the things they need to do. Even if we overlap once in a while, it's I don't think it really hurts as long as we get the message out.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I'm not questioning.
No, I know,
whether
I
we're
understand
doing
that.
It's my big business experience that says, can we do better? And I'm not trying to have any affront to our friends from Ad Workshop. They're right. It's great results. So I'll be quiet for a while. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? And we'll move into the last up. Oh, yeah, we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you. All right, let's go.
So along with that, we would love to show you our new video for the upcoming summer, and the footage was shot last year. Peter and I worked closely with Working Pictures, so Peter can answer any questions relative to the videos that we'll show you today.
You can start with the 15. So each year we try and build a campaign for the following season. So this past year was building the summer one, which is always the most fun, because there's so many nice resources to showcase.
Shared.
These particular pieces that we're going to show today are there'll be a 15-second, we create a 30-second, and we create a 60-second. And they showcase a heavy outdoor recreation perspective that resonated us with the consumers really well last year. We look to continue the momentum we've built with it.
Was that you, Peter? Did I see you on that mountain?
Yeah.
I was in one a while ago.
What trail's this?
Bernie.
So that 15-second one is a perfect piece, and there's 3 versions of that. But that's a perfect piece for like the news channels. Just kind of put them in between stories and run them frequently. They don't cost as much.
You want this one now?
Yeah,
60
it's-
second?
Yes, please.
Good. I'd like to go.
There you go. So as Peter said, 15, 30, and 60 seconds. The 60 encompassed most of the attractions and heavily outdoor recreation around the county, but each little segment has a different purpose. So that will be our summer campaign. And that's through our vendor with Working Pictures in Albany. Working Pictures will traffic, and they call it trafficking, and get the correct format to our partners over at Workshops. So it's good to have the vendors kind of run in sync because they work with each other. So I think I brought that up at other committee meetings when we're talking about the different contracts that we have and how they run concurrently. But they've done a fine job for us. We've won in the past 3 or 4 awards for our videos. So they will submit this to whatever regional advertising awards, and I'm sure when I'm not here next year, Peter will accept that award graciously for us.
They get mail down there?
I think that's it for this agenda. I do have one item that we may go into executive session for, personnel, and I don't have the exact phrase
Did we vote on
for the need to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter about a specific individual.
Would be a matter leading to the employment of a particular person or corporation.
All right, Mr. Dickinson, you make the
that.
motion. Do I get a second? Mr. Stroud? Shouldn't take too long, so don't worry about leaving. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Next is October.
We're in executive session.
Good job.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We're back in regular session, and no decision was finally made, but we're gonna move Joanne to make a recommendation.
I would ask the committee to make a motion to create a position of per diem principal account clerk and to delete, and to fill that position, and to delete the principal account clerk full-time position.
For now, yeah.
And to fill, and for that per diem position to be through the end of the year.
Move it.
Mr. Dixon, you move it. Mr. Stroud, you second it. Any other questions of the board? Anybody out in the, that's on the, our.
Can I, sir, why do we have to delete? We have lots of positions that we haven't filled out there.
Oh, I'm happy to leave it in the.
We're happy to leave it. That's the opinion that I think we got, to delete that position.
Well, I thought what I heard from Supervisor Wild was let's leave our options open. So by deleting, we are definitely not leaving any options open here.
Right.
Yeah, with this proposal, when it initially came to the committee, it was proposed as leaving the full-time position intact and just defunding it. And as I can't remember, I think it was at the personnel committee. The personnel committee didn't agree with that and wanted it passed deleting the full-time position. So that's why we've discussed deleting the full-time position.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna vote for it with the delete in there. I know I'm being difficult and I'm only 30 some odd votes, so you guys really don't have to consider me here, but I thought we were leaving our options open.
I'll allow my second to be amended as we just spoke to. You won't?
I mean, actually, this is only my opinion. If we delete it, it's still basically somebody does come in and we put an RFP out to hire a full-time person, and that person has to come and this board has to get the salary set, hire the person. So you're not deleting anything. You will just add a new person to that department. But Mr. Strauss?
If you delete the position, then you're going to have to recreate it, and it's going to require 2/3 vote.
Yep, that's true.
And you're going to be back in the same boat. I agree with Supervisor Hogan.
Woo! That's great. Mark this date and time.
Without interrupting.
Okay.
That we keep the position but defund it, as the committee suggested we could do if we were desirous of doing so.
Okay. All right. So you're second, Mr. Dickinson?
I agree with it.
And Mr. Dixon agrees with that. So
Well, I agree with John.
yes, what we're putting forward. All right. So everybody has an understanding of it.
And this
Mr.
is
Leggett?
to create and fill the per diem.
Yep.
Okay.
Unfunded right now. The principal, yes.
Okay.
Everybody happy with that out there? All right. We got a motion and a second. Everybody in favor of the tourism committee?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Anything else? All right. How about a motion to adjourn? That's Mr. Dickinson, Mr. Strauss, all in favor?
Aye.
We're opposed. We're adjourned.
That was good. It was